Hello and welcome. You're watching Money 9. I'm Sakshi Batra, and on this show, we talk all about markets, how the markets performed this week, and what should you be prepared for as we move into the next week after this long weekend of Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and the festive spirit of Ganesh Chaturthi as well. Joining in is a very special guest with me. I have with me Ajit Mishra from Religare Broking on this edition of Bazaar Weekly. Thank you very much, Ajit, for joining us and taking out time for us. Well, a week which has been quite lackluster, if you may say, after the continuous record runs that we've been seeing on a daily basis on both the Nifty, the Sensex as well. How are you looking at the market scenario currently after this kind of some selling pressure coming in? Even though we did manage to end up on a positive note on Friday, on Thursday, but what's your thought there?
Yeah, good evening, Shakshi. Shakshi, yes, definitely we are seeing a pause, but it's a healthy pause, a healthy consolidation that we are seeing in the market after the phenomenal run. In fact, if you talk about the previous week and the month, in fact, the August month, nearly 9% kind of gains in index. So it's prudent and it's very important that Nifty should spend some time around the current levels before any further up move. The best part is that we're still seeing certain pockets, especially in the banking pack, which still have some steam left, and plus we have some of the counters, from the energy and IT space, where we may see, further up move in days to come. So 17,500 is what we are eyeing in the index, and around that area we may see some, again profit taking coming in the market. So it's a buy and dip market, at least for the index, and closer to around 17,250, 200 area where we have immediate support. So in case if we see any dip, one should consider it as a buying opportunity.
Okay.
But yeah, coming to the sectors, it should be like a mixed trend, the way we saw, in the passing week.
Yeah, so we'll come to the sectors. Let me just quickly pull up the indices and their performance for this week first so that all our viewers are also updated about it. So, for both the major indices, Nifty and the Sensex, you have seen that a 0.25% jump was seen for this week. The Nifty Next 50 also moved higher by 0.5%, but what outperformed clearly was the Nifty Small Cap 100 Index. That was up by almost 2.3%. The mid cap index was also up by 1%. So overall, it has been a positive week, even though it has been a truncated week of 4 trading days. We have seen the small caps coming in forefront. So would you say, Ajit, that the underperformance that we were seeing, some time back in both the mid and small cap stocks is now behind us, or is this just an aberration that we are seeing?
Yes, see, the index, recouping the losses that we have seen in the previous month, definitely is a positive sign. But going ahead, I feel, it's very important to maintain stock-specific trading approach, especially in the mid-cap and small-cap space, because now we are seeing very selective participation in the broader market. So, uh, though the index is likely to maintain this bias, but the participation would more be restricted towards the quality fundamental counters. So one should, uh, plan their positions accordingly.
Okay, let's also look at how the sectors have performed and which sector has been taking the top spot as far as this week is concerned. And you'll be able to see that some of the sectors that did perform well were FMCG, metals, infra, realty. In fact, realty did slip a bit after that long haul of outperformance that it was showing in the last few weeks. But it's been more downs than ups this week. The pharma index losing the most, over 1% this time around, and 0.5% loss for the banks, especially the private and PSU banks as well. IT stocks also did see some profit booking taking shape. So going forward from here, Jeet, where are you bullish on in terms of sectors? Is it going to be defensives? Or because we are again seeing divergent trend here. FMCG stocks are performing, but the pharma is still an underperformer.
True, actually, and in fact, instead of like maintaining a sector-specific approach, I would rather recommend maintaining stock-specific trading approach, because within the sector, as you have rightly mentioned, that within the defensive pack itself, we are seeing that the IT are doing well, and in fact, some of the FMCG majors also are making record highs. But
Mhm.
again, in the sector, we have mixed trends, so it's more of like stock-specific approach that one should continue with. But having said that, yes, we feel that banking holds the key when it comes to helping the index to inch further higher and sustain the higher levels, because we have hardly seen any move in the banking index so far. So
Hmm.
that is something to keep a close eye on.
Right. One more space which has been buzzing of late is the telecom space. with the kind of expectations around a relief package so that the government ensures that there is no duopoly. But again, we are also seeing the event coming up on Reliance Jio Next phone getting launched as well. So far, we've seen Bharti Airtel really perform very well on the back of rights issue, a whole lot of news flow on that front too. How should one really approach this space going forward into the next week? Because by Monday, we will have the news of the Geo Next smartphone. Of course, a whole lot, depends on the kind of pricing of the unit that they do. But in case there is a lot of aggressive pricing out there and it is advantage Geo and therefore Reliance Industries, would you say that that for the time being all the profits gained in Bharti Airtel could be taken off, or should one still stay put?
Right. So Sakshi, in fact, we are seeing this tussle going on from last couple of years now, and with this Vodafone idea still hanging in the picture, we feel that this fight is between this big two like Bharti Airtel and Reliance. Reliance, we have already seen a very strong surge last week, so we may see a breather, but the trend is positive, and in fact, we have recommended our clients to go for positional longs in Reliance for the target of 2700 mark. And similarly for the Bharti. So I feel that when it comes to telecom space, one should continue with long positions in both stocks like Bharti Airtel and Reliance Industries, and avoid Vodafone Idea for a timing at least, unless we have clarity over that how they're going to survive and what is their future plans regarding the capital raising and all. So meanwhile, I don't see any major issue. In case if there be any dip in Bharti Airtel, we would recommend to continue with buy on dips approach, and similarly for the Reliance Industries. For Bharti, we have a target closer to around 720 levels and 27 for the Reliance Industries.
Right. I also wanted to ask you, since we were talking about the FMCG space, even on Thursday, we did see Nestle ITC really doing well, finding themselves their place in the top five Nifty 50 gainers too. Overall, we've seen some price hikes happen in the past few weeks by HUL, record levels being seen for, some of these stocks in the FMCG basket. Now that we are moving into the festive season, consumption is going to be another theme that one is going to track. Anything specific that looks attractive to you in this basket?
In fact, we have seen very strong traction in Marico and Britannia, apart from Nestle, which you've already mentioned. So I feel that this theme is going to play out big, because earlier we were like seeing this volume related issues, but now with the things reopening and with the festive season around us, so definitely is going to pick up big time. And but yes, since we have already seen very strong surge in all these counters, it's prudent that one should maintain, buy on dips approach and gradually accumulate these stocks, after the recent run up.
Okay, understood. And what about the auto space? Of course, this entire space has been facing a whole lot of flux when it comes to sometimes muted demand in terms of the two-wheelers, when it comes to semiconductor shortage for the four-wheelers as well. But at the same time, we have seen that the festive season is going to begin, so there is going to be some kind of a positive momentum there too. Are you at all looking at this space, and any specific picks that you could share?
Exactly. So, yes, there are headwinds related to chip shortage and the input cost rise, and they've already made it very clear that this issue might get resolved by the end of September or October beginning. So, meanwhile, yes, this is going to stay, and with the beginning of the this festive season is going to be difficult for them to maintain the kind of demand that they are anticipating. So that is something which is going to be crucial, because as far as the numbers are concerned, auto numbers, they are healthy in terms of like the kind of auto sales that we are seeing month on month. But with this issues, definitely is going to impact the the overall auto pack, and that is what we are seeing, and that is what is reflecting in the auto sales stock prices also. So one needs to be selective in this space also. And though Tata Motors has been in news, started with in fact with Tata Motors with this semiconductor issue.
Yes.
Now we are seeing some respite coming in from the lower levels, so we may see some rebound in Tata Motors. And in the two-wheeler space, Bajaj Auto has been holding very strong if we'll compare it with the performance vis-a-vis Hero MotoCo. So
Yeah.
both these counters we consider in case if somebody is having a view of short term. But from the long term perspective, we still stick with Maruti, and we suggest this current consolidation congestion to accumulate this stock with the long term perspective.
Okay, understood. Let's now move on to understanding your stock specific recommendations for all the investors looking to invest over the next week. Where should they keep their focus on?
Right. So, in fact, considering that we are at record highs and we may see some profit taking at the higher levels, we recommend maintaining long and short approach. So we have two stocks on the long side and one on the short side. So since we are anticipating, banking to do well, and Kotak Bank, this week have done exceptionally well among the private banking space. Though ICICI and Nexus is definitely leading the pack, they are trading closer to the record highs. But now we are seeing some traction coming in the Kotak with noticeable rise in volume. So we may see this, rise continuing in the Kotak Bank. So with stop of around 1750, one can go long in Kotak and accumulate in this range of 1719 to 1810 for the target of around 1900 for next week. And since we were talking about FMCG, also Marico is something that qualifies for a fresh buy. So one can accumulate Marico in 568 to 572 zone, with 560 as a closing stop loss and 590 as a target. And lastly, on the list, we have Z Limited on the short side. We have seen a rebound, but the overall trend and the overall chart structure is still negative for Z. So any rebound closer on 183.85 is the area basically where one can consider going short with the stop at 190 and target at 170.
Okay, so two buys and one short for the next week. You're all prepared to understand how the week is going to be. If it is going to be volatile, then it is going to be healthy for the long-term investors. But very, very stock selection, selective approach is something that you should, as investors, have over the next week too. Well, thank you so much, Ajit, for joining us, and wish you a very happy Ganesh Chaturthi. And thanks for joining us with all your insights and your recommendations. And with that, we wrap up this edition of Bazaar Weekly for you, so that now you have all the inputs of how the markets really closed, what were the in points, all the macro factors that you've got to know as far as the indices movement are concerned, the sectors, and also you have the stock recommendations. And hope you have a very good weekend as well. Thank you so much for joining us.